everybody, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. We are here tonight because we are going to talk Ready to Love, Season 4, Episode 11, A Reason, a Season, or a Lifetime. Before we get started, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone has a safe and healthy and prosperous 2022. 2020 and 2021 have been low-key trash, but we going to hope for, fingers crossed, for 2022. So let's get right into it, y'all. So the episode starts off with the women are all meeting up to be at the ladies' lounge. So Tommy tells them that they will be introducing their favorite guys to their family this week. And I hate how everyone is always like, my family is going to do this, my family. And it's like, y'all, we don't need all that. People be acting like their family's about to come in and jump these men. It's not going to happen. Your family is going to ask pertinent questions. From those questions, you're going to get more insight, more depth into that other person, into the guy that you brought around your family. So we start off with Sydney. Sydney has Phil meeting her parents. So she does not want her parents to be too extra. Um, but she wants them to ask just enough questions that they can get a feel for him and that they can kind of get to know Phil as a person the way that she kind of knows him. So Phil shows up. He has flowers for both her mom and her, bottle of bourbon for her father. So he came in, swinging, hitting all the proper like first impressions. So her mother asked him if he has a savings account. And then she just tells him that if you want to play, go play somewhere else, basically. But they have a good time. Phil and Sydney are very affectionate. They are always kissing each other. So when they leave, there's more kisses exchanged. And all I could think about was, is Frank coming right after this? Are you gonna go brush your teeth? What is going on? But her parents like Phil, so that works out for her. Then we have Aisha, who has Dante meeting her mom and her brother. So Dante brings flowers for her mom. And her brother goes in right away, and it's like, so you got three kids and three baby mamas, and Dante, you can tell that he like doesn't like answering that question. Not that he's embarrassed by it, but it's kind of like, yes, I have three kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he knows that it's a question that he's going to have to keep answering over and over and over. So his her brother asks, how is the relationship? Is there gonna be any, is there gonna be beef? No one wants to deal with baby mama drama. And her Phil I'm sorry, Dante says that two of the mothers are remarried. He's very cordial with them. Everybody has a good relationship. There's no issues on that front at all. So everything is nice and smooth and cool. So her mother asks Dante, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. He says he sees Aisha in his life for a lifetime, which is great. So Aisha is like smitten and blushing and smiling because that's definitely what you want to hear when you're dating someone. So her family seems to like Dante. He made a very good first impression. So far we're two for two. So then we have Mumeen. She has Frank meeting her sister, her father, and she said her favorite uncle. So Mumeen is from Cameroon. She tells her father that Frank has roots in Ghana. Her father said, "Why you ain't pick somebody from Cameroon?" She said, "Because nobody from Cameroon was in the process." Parents be so aggy, but she her father said once Frank comes in and they have like back and forth conversation. Frank is just like, yep, I'm the first. Frank said he is a first generation born American here. So he's talking about that, about how they might have similar backgrounds and upbringings. And her father said that you guys are clicking, you guys have a good rapport with one another. And he says, so are there other women? And what is the pecking order? And this is where Frank is like messing up. Anytime he gets tasked with the question of, are you seeing someone else? Like, he panics, and you can see the panic in his face. It's not like a It's not like yeah, this is part of the process type thing. It's always like yeah, well, yeah, like he gets like almost nervous about it, and it's weird. It's extremely weird, and it's telling because if I was sitting there and that was my sister, that tells me that you don't know who you're gonna pick. Or that my sister is not your top choice because if she was your top choice, it would be like, yep, I'm seeing other people in this process, but she is definitely at the top for me right now. You know what I mean? So, but okay, Frank. So Frank is extremely honest, and he says there are other women that he is considering, but he doesn't give away anything about where they rank in terms of who he's feeling the most. So her father said, "Do not waste my daughter's time. Don't." And Frank, Mumeen tries to explain that this is the process. We're dating different people, seeing where we fit, whatever, whatever. But I want Mumeen and Frank to understand y'all are both each other's second choice. Y'all were not each other's first choice. And I kind of feel like, do I want to be with my second choice because their first choice rejected them? That's something you really have to think about. And I feel like they're so thirsty on this show to make it to the end in a relationship that they are missing out. They're missing out on the fact that this person didn't want me for real. I'm just their default second person. You know what I mean? So then we get to Shiloh. Shiloh said that her and Phil had an argument at a bar. I said, an argument at a bar? Sounds ghetto. But so they're meeting up to talk to Tommy so they can talk about what happened. So Phil comes in. Phil does not even make eye contact with Shiloh. He doesn't greet her, anything. He comes in, shakes Tommy's hand, and then he goes and sits down right away. And I was like, oh, big mad. He's still mad about what happened because for him not to even greet her or even give a hey girl hey, yeah, that's a little concerning. So Phil said that Shiloh wanted an answer on who he's going to pick, and then it turned heated and it just spiraled from there. So Shiloh said, so Tommy is like, what's going on? Context. Shiloh said they connected at the retreat. Remember, we saw the scene with them cooking, and then she kind of puts him on the spot and asks him who is he going to pick, or she tells him that she's all in, she's choosing him, and he was basically like he just kissed her right away and said, "Cool, I got you." She realized when she got home that he didn't answer the question. He deflected and he used that kiss as a way for him to kind of worm his way out of that situation. So she brought it back up. When they were talking, Phil told her to relax because, they're still in this process. And he said, I got you. Shiloh said, I got you is not, Shiloh said, saying I got you is not an answer to her, which it is not. If I tell you that, if I tell you I'm feeling you and your response is, okay, cool, I got you, that's not a response. So she said that from there it got more and more heated. Tommy said, have y'all been drinking? Were y'all drinking? Shiloh said, yes, we had definitely had some drinks. Phil said he had one shot. So apparently Shiloh got up because she wanted to walk away and get some space, get some air. She said she wasn't leaving. She just needed to get some space because the conversation was going in a way that wasn't working for her mentally. I'm assuming mentally, emotionally, whatever. Needed a little break. As she walked up, Phil followed behind her. Phil follows behind her and picks her up and points her back in the direction of the car. Shiloh said that triggered her because of things that has happened to her in her past. Phil said that it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. She was walking towards an alley. There are rough parts of every city. He said, as a man, it's like not an alley that he would want to walk down by himself. So Tommy said 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, y'all should have had y'all black asses at home. And I agree. 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I would never. I feel like even in my 20s, I wasn't out till 5 o'clock in the morning. Nothing is open at time of night but legs. Nothing. Nothing. Like, come on, y'all. And on a no reason for y'all to be out there late. So Phil said that he just wanted her to be safe, so he was just redirecting her back towards the car. Um, Tommy then said that y'all should not have had that conversation at that time in that environment under the influence. Whether you had one shot or a couple of drinks, y'all had liquor in your system. It's late. Like it was just a recipe for disaster to be having that particular like sensitive, important conversation in. So he then tells them like make some eye contact because y'all aren't even looking at each other. There hasn't been any type of anything since y'all came in. And Phil is like, Phil does not want to look at her. Phil feels away. So he finally turns and looks at her. Charlotte looks like she's getting ready to cry. And I'm like, this is such a mess. This is such a mess. Um, Tommy tells them to figure out if y'all still like each other. You know, there obviously is still something, basically, because y'all came to do this meeting, so there must be something that, you know, there's some reason that y'all are still together or that y'all even came to do this meeting. Y'all still like each other. So Phil says in his confessional he feels that his character is being attacked. And Shiloh said that she thinks that they're too far gone to repair this. So let's talk about this. Um, on one hand, no. Phil, you had no right to put your hands on that lady. Phil has absolutely no right to put his hands on her. And I understand that he wanted to make sure she was safe. He didn't want her to walk down this alley and he was just redirecting her. Absolutely no reason to put your hands on her. And I think what happens far too often is men without thinking will reach out and grab you. They'll reach out and do stuff like that. And like she said that she doesn't feel like he did it in a way to like be physically aggressive with her or like she didn't feel threatened or you know scared or anything like that, but just I guess just the fact of him grabbing her, it triggers something in her. She has apparently dealt with abuse before in her past, so that was the trigger. But I think this also goes to show they have not been doing as much talking and getting to know each other these past couple of months as they should have been. Because I feel like if someone grabbing you like that is a trigger for you, then that's something that Phil should have known. You know what I mean? So then we have Sydney. Sydney has her sister over to meet Frank. Frank comes in. He admitted to being a little nervous. Her sister, I think her name was Sarah, was on go. She was ready for all the smoke, wanted to ask all these questions. Sydney didn't know if she wanted Sarah to go easy on Frank or go hard on him. She was torn, but Sarah said, I got this. Don't even worry. So Sarah again asks Sarah again asks Frank if he is dating other women. He says technically yes, but then turns his whole body over to Sydney and tells her he doesn't want to talk about her. He likes her and he feels a connection with her, and he starts like basically sweet talking her. And Sydney was like, is this what you were telling Mumeen too? Because it came across very generic. It came across very rehearsed, very scripted. And he was just like, but I don't want to talk about her. I just want to talk about you. And Frank says that he feels that they might be too, well, in his confessional, that they might be too much alike. And Sydney in her confessional is wondering if they are better as just, if he would be better as just a really, really good guy friend, or if it's something that they should pursue a little further. Her sister does like Frank as a person, but not as a mate for her. So then we have Sabrina. Walter is meeting her. I think she said her cousin. She's on FaceTime because she just had a baby, and she basically is just asking him, "How does it feel to be dating an older woman? You typically date younger women." Walter gives a very generic answer that because how did he phrase it? Because his wife, you know, he's a widower, so because his wife would have been Sabrina's age, this is the type of age and beauty that he would be looking at, and he sweet talks her, and Sabrina said that she doesn't look 46, and I said, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Sabrina. You don't look bad, but you look your age, sweetheart. So the ladies all meet back up. And Tommy is asking them how did everything go with your family meeting. How did everything go with your family meeting your guys? Sabrina said to her friend, her cousin loved Walter. Mumeen's family liked Frank. Aisha's family liked Dante. Sydney said her family completely adored Phil, to which Shiloh was sitting over there real mush face about, and said that her sister liked Frank. Tommy asked if Sydney's sister made a decision for her or like made a pick for her. Sydney says yes, but she's not going to say what her sister picked. And I'm like, because your sister picked Phil. We know. So Shiloh said that she wanted to take Phil to meet with her family, but after they had their argument, she did not feel comfortable doing so. And everybody was like, because people are petty. So everybody is like, what happened? Oh my god, what happened? What's going on? So they meet up. So she tells them about when her and Phil met up, how they got into this argument, and Phil, reached out and kind of like picked her up, and everybody is like, oh god, like everybody's face is just disgust. The same face that all the men made when Dante told them about Zadia poking him in the nose. And she said she wanted to be clear. At no point did she fear for her life. She didn't feel like he was trying to physically hurt her. She just felt completely disrespected. And Sydney said that she has never experienced that with Phil, and she absolutely does not agree with him touching her, picking her up. And she's like, I'm just so sorry that you went through that. But what I did really, really love that Sydney did was Sydney asked Shiloh, was she okay with her having a conversation with Phil about that? Because a lot of women would not have asked Shiloh for her permission to do that. They would have just turned around and ran back and did it. So that was very, very classy on Sydney's part. And Sydney just wants to get to the root of it because it's a red flag, right? Because I'm sure in Sydney's mind now, she's thinking, okay, so if we get in an argument, is Phil going to put his hands on me? Is he going to pick me up if I try to leave? Is he going to shake me? Like there's a plethora of things that are going on. And that's why Phil said he felt like his character was being attacked. Because now there's all these questions as to, okay, if we get into it, how do I know Phil is not going to grab me if I try to walk away too? So again, that's why they shouldn't have been out there late. So Tommy tells them, we're not going to have an elimination today. Go deal with what you need to deal with, because Shiloh said that Phil wants to have a follow up conversation with her, and she wants to grant him that. So we get to this follow up conversation, y'all. Phil comes in. You can tell that he's like a little nervous. He really wants to apologize. He said he feels that as a man, he should have diffused the argument a little sooner. He should have made sure that it didn't spiral out of control the way that it did. So Shiloh said that Phil does not know what it is like to be in an open space and not be able to leave. And he's like, no, I don't. She said because she has the marks on her body to remind her of that. And you can tell that Phil is taken aback by that because he didn't know. And again, y'all have not been talking enough, because I really feel like that would be something that should have come up in just casual conversation if y'all are really trying to get to know each other. Um, Phil said that he did what he thought was in her best interest. She gets extremely, extremely defensive, and she's like, no, I know what's in my best interest. And he tells her that you being mad at me is reversible, right? I can deal with you being mad at me. But you walking away mad and walking down this alley and something happens, that's not reversible. He's like, how do you, like, who is going to be to blame for that? That's going to be me. How would that fall back on me? And when Phil said that, I completely understood what he meant. Because, like, if you have an argument with a friend and a friend you're outside at the bar, you're arguing with your friend or you're arguing with your spouse or your partner, and that person goes walking down the damn alley, and you just or walking down the street, just walking down the street in general, and you're sitting there on some whatever then, and you don't chase after them, and next thing you know, that person gets hit by a car because they don't see the car coming, or that person gets snatched or shot or stabbed or something like that. Anything can happen. So I understood what Phil was saying in that moment, and I think no matter what Phil said, Shiloh was not going to excuse him or forgive him for what he did. And I think I might get hate for this, but I think a big part of that is because she is upset that he has not picked her back. Shiloh is acting off of emotion. A lot of it is really Shiloh being in a mood because Phil has not told her, I am picking you, I'm putting my all into you. Because the way that she was going in, and it's like you were trying, because he asked her, do you think I was trying to hurt you? And she said yes, emotionally. Him grabbing you to turn you around, I don't think is him trying to emotionally hurt you. So this might be either that Shiloh has some past trauma that she needs to work through, or she was really just taking out her frustration because Phil did not pick her, so she's taking out their frustration and putting that into the atmosphere. So Phil is saying, like, in his confessional, he's just like, he still has feelings for her, but they're different. They're not romantic anymore. He doesn't think they're a good fit. And Shiloh is just like, she doesn't know if anything can ever be repaired between the two of them. And my whole thing is like, girl, you are that mad that that man grabbed you. And I'm not diminishing what she's saying, like Phil said too, not to discredit or discount or anything. He was really just trying to explain to her why she did it, and the way that she was like, no, no, that's not what you were doing. It's kind of like you're a lot of that hurt is because he has not picked you. A lot of that hurts because he hasn't picked you. Because I believe that if they were having the same argument and they were having an argument about anything else, if they were a couple and they were very exclusive with each other through this process at this point, and Sydney was out of the picture, if they were having a discussion like this about anything else and he grabbed her like that, I don't think that Shiloh would be going above and beyond like this. I don't. So Shiloh then meets up with Tommy, and she said that the conversation got defensive. And I'm like, no, it didn't. It didn't get defensive. Phil was basically telling you why he grabbed you, what his thought process was. He apologized for that, and you're the one being defensive because you're mad that he did not pick you, and or that he wasn't giving you the answer that you wanted, and he was your only connection. So she said that she still believes that Phil was trying to harm her emotionally, and I really want her to break down what that means. I really want her to break down what that means, because if he did not know that was a trigger for you, how was he intentionally trying to hurt you emotionally? So then she tells Tommy that her journey is over on this show, and I'm like, it's time. It's really been time for Shiloh to go, but it's time. So that has been Ready to Love, season 4, episode 11. Let me know what you guys think about the situation. Do you guys think that Phil was completely in the wrong? Do you think Shiloh is overreacting? Let me know how you guys feel about it. Next week is the finale, so let's see what couples are actually going to make it. Talk to you guys later.